All right, let's talk about being quarantined this year for Eid. So I know a lot of us may be feeling like this Eid is just not going to be the same. It's going to be different. But being different doesn't mean that this can't be an amazing Eid. So I have 5 tips for you to make this one of your best Eids ever. Number 1, treat this Eid like you would treat any other Eid. To start off with, fulfill all of these sunnahs, the regular practices that you would do in any previous Eid. So some sunnahs of Eid: taking a bath in the morning, putting on nice clothes, smelling nice. Just because you're not leaving the house, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't dress up and look nice for Eid. We all know that putting on nice clothes and being clean automatically makes us feel better and can make us feel happy as well. And this is the day to do that. Likewise, eating something in the morning. We know the Prophet ﷺ, as it's been mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari, that he wouldn't leave his house on the day of Eid until he has eaten something. So even though we're not leaving our houses, we should begin our day with eating something to remind ourselves that this day is not a day of Ramadan. It is a day of celebration. It is the day of Eid, the day after Ramadan. Number 2, Zakatul Fitr. Zakatul Fitr is the charity that is given at the end of the month of Ramadan. What is the purpose of the Zakatul Fitr? Well, first of all, it purifies our deeds and makes up for any shortcomings that we had during the month of Ramadan. And also, equally important, it is to help those people who may not have the means to celebrate the day of Eid. So those people who are less fortunate, it is to provide a meal for them. And that is why actually the Zakatul Fitr, that meal that we give as charity, has to be given before the Eid prayer on the day of Eid. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said, as it's been mentioned in Abu Dawood, "Man addaha qabla as-salah fahiya zakatun maqbula, wa man addaha ba'da as-salah fahiya sadaqatun min as-sadaqat." Whoever gives it before the prayer, meaning the Eid prayer here, then this is counted as a charity. It is counted as the Zakatul Fitr. And whoever gives it after the prayer, then it is just a charity like any other charity, meaning it doesn't count as the Zakatul Fitr. So in this manner, this Eid is no different to any previous Eid. Part of our Eid is looking out for those who are less fortunate, making sure that they have the means to celebrate Eid as well, and at the very least they have a nice meal to eat on the day of Eid. So just because we're at home, it doesn't mean that we can't be charitable towards others and have that charitable spirit on the day of Eid. And that leads me to my next tip. Number 3, reach out to others, especially those who are in need, those who may be by themselves on the day of Eid. There are those who are by themselves simply because of the circumstance that we find ourselves in, simply because we're quarantined. There are people who have been separated from their families. So it is important that we reach out to those people to make sure they don't feel alone, even if it's just a phone call. There are those who don't have families. There are those who are, for example, new to Islam and they don't have anyone to celebrate Eid with. It is our responsibility as their brothers and their sisters to reach out to them and help them feel connected and happy on this day. Likewise, those people who may be going through a rough time. Maybe previously we didn't have time to reach out to them, but this day, the day of Eid, is the day where we make a special effort to reach out, even if it's just a phone call, something we can do to let them know, to remind them that we are here for them and that they're not alone, even if they're physically alone in this moment. Number 4, pray the Eid prayer at home. Yes, this year we're not going to the masjid and praying Eid with the whole congregation, but we can still pray the Eid prayer. It has been narrated by Anas radiallahu anh that for the one who misses the Eid prayer, they can pray the Eid prayer at home with those people who are in their houses. And this definitely applies now that we are quarantined. So whoever you have in your house, get together and pray the Eid prayer as the Eid prayer is normally prayed, except there is no sermon, there is no khutbah for this Eid prayer. And so this Eid prayer is not about quantity. You don't have to collect your neighbors and your family members and bring them over, have them break their quarantine. Just pray with whoever you have in your house. And yes, that'll be a different experience than previous years, but that different experience can also make it a special experience. Maybe this year our hearts will be more connected to the prayer because we're praying them with a few of our loved ones. Number 5, in previous years we would congratulate people in person. We know the companions would congratulate one another. So for example, they would say, "Taqabbal Allahu minna wa minkum." They would say, "May Allah accept from us and accept from you." Even though we're not physically with people, it doesn't mean we cannot get in touch with them and congratulate them. And since we're home, since we have a lot more time this year, reach out to people, as many people as you can. Give them a call, get them on Zoom, get them online, and congratulate them and help them feel good about this day of Eid, a day of celebration upon the completion of the month of Ramadan. So the key idea in all of these tips is not only to do what we would do in previous Eids, but it's actually to do more. Make even more of an effort to make this Eid special as we're quarantined at home. So it is our responsibility to help one another make this Eid extra special. So that is what I have for you, but I would also love to hear your tips as well. Leave them in the comments below and I would love to read them. And if I don't get to speak to you on Eid, Eid Mubarak to all of you. May you have a blessed Eid and may Allah accept my good deeds and all of your good deeds as well. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.